Jabaya Chorabaya Utaka Abaya Agni Ibaya.
So welcome everybody to join this Dharma boat. And I hope at the end of this series of Srirangama Sutra, you will get some knowledge and some inspiration on your cultivation. The pattern that we are speaking, the Srirangama this time, is a bit different from the past. That we will not just concentrate on the theory, but we also point out how does it relate to your daily lives, and how can you engage them in your cultivation especially. So let me introduce you the overview of the Srirangama Sutra. Srirangama Sutra is quite well known in the Chinese Mahayana history. It was translated during the Tang Dynasty, brought in by a Indian monk called Paramiti. And it was translated in the Guangdong province. It was documented in the history. And later on, this sutra was spread out all over China since Tang Dynasty throughout Song Ming Dynasty until recently. That's why in the past, in the Chinese Buddhist history, this sutra was cited and quoted by a lot of past patriarchs in different schools. As you know, the Mahayana Buddhism in China, actually, we have 8 Mahayana schools. Those are very famous that you may know of as Pure Land. So Pure Land School is one of them. And we have Tentai School, which concentrates on the Lotus Sutra. And this lineage was later on brought into Japan and Korea as well. And then we have this Xian Shou Zhong. It is based on the Avatamsaka Sutra. And then we have San Lun Zhong. San Lun Zhong it talks about the 8 denials. It's like beyond duality. And we have the school of Vinaya. And then, of course, we have the school of esoteric Buddhism. But this lineage was died off halfway somewhere in Tang Dynasty. But this lineage was brought into Japan and survived until nowadays. It's called Shingon Buddhism, where Sifu is in this lineage as well. Although in the academic field, some scholars claim that this sutra is not true, it's a fake one, but it's just based on the debate on documentations. But in terms of cultivation and attainment, it was conventionally accepted by all the Mahayana schools in China, and especially those very well-known patriarchs. Those we know recently, like Xuanhua, Master Xuanhua, who was based in the USA. And we have Xu Yun Lao Heshang, also a very popular monk during the early Ming Guo, after the Qing Dynasty. And he was a Qing Dynasty born monk as well, actually. So no doubt it's a very true sutra. And there's another nickname for it. It is called a mini Tripitaka. Okay, as you know, Tripitaka is like all the Buddhist scriptures are inside. Tripitaka means the 3 baskets, the 3 canons, the Sutra Pitaka, which are the discourses given by the Buddha, compiled within the Sutra Pitaka. And then we have the Vinaya Pitaka, mostly the monastic disciplinary code. All these contents are compiled under the Vinaya Pitaka. And then later on, we have the Shastra Pitaka. Shastra are like treatises, or like nowadays we call thesis, written by all the scholars, Pandita, and all these. So if you want to learn Buddhism, Buddhism is like ocean of books and ocean of scriptures, ocean of documentations that You have to dive in. I'm sure somebody like most of you lay people, if you were asked to read through the whole Tripitaka, all the sutras, all the Vinaya and all the Shastras, I'm sure in your lifetime you may not have time to make it. So this Srirangama Sutra is like a miniature version of the entire Tripitaka. Of course, it's in terms of the contents, it may not cover all, but the what you call the concept, the very basic concept are all inside. And this sutra was said it came into existence called the recitation, dictation from Nagarjuna, Bodhisattva Nagarjuna, that after he went to the Naga palace and he read all the sutras Pitaka, and after he came back to our world and he dictated out of memory, and how it came from. And this history was very sorrow when the sutra was brought into China. It's a very sorrowful history. This sutra was actually a treasure of the of India. So in that time, the government did not allow this sutra being exported to other countries. So Paramiti, the Indian monk, so he cut off his what you call his shoulder and then hide the sutra inside with silk region, and then he came to China, and how this sutra was brought into China. The entire sutra has 10 volumes. Okay, so if we were to classify the contents of these 10 volumes, we can classify them into 4 big blocks. The first block is called Awakening Gateway, where it explains what are the characteristics of the illusory mind and also the characteristics of the true mind. And then all the phenomena that we see in the universe, be it from the object side or your faculty side, how did they come about and what are they? Okay. It explains the phenomena of the universe. For instance, when people ask an externalist, this world and human beings came from where? They will say, oh, came from a creator, right? The human beings and the world was created by a creator. But when people ask you Buddhists, this world and human beings came from where? Can you answer such a question? Usually, we are quite ambiguous in answering such a question, right? And but even the Buddha, it didn't answer at the beginning of the teaching. But in the Srirangama Sutra, especially the Awakening Gateway, it explains how did it came about, how did the universe came about, and how the human came about, and why is it so, why we are here, and why we are seeing all these phenomena like the sakura behind you, behind Sifu, and the computer screen in front of you. So awakening gateway is to awaken us that the way of thinking that we are engaged in since lives without beginning are wrong. And after you have finished this awakening gateway, your mindset, your thinking will be improved to somehow like a sages, like closer to the Buddha's view. So in this term, like we call it in the Eightfold Path, the right view. After you have finished the awakening gateway, at least you have the right view on looking at things, especially your life as well. But this awakening is not the enlightenment that the Arahats or the Buddhas have gained. In terms of theory, theoretically, conceptually, you are awakened, but experientially, actually, you have not yet. So you have to start cultivating. Have to start cultivating yourself, and then attain your fruits, and then later on maintain your fruits. Okay, so cultivation gateway is like the details and the concepts on how we untie the samsaric knots. Like now we are ordinary being, we are human being. Like in the process of searching for enlightenment, what are the steps, the sequence that we have to go through? It's like from your house Okay, for example, from KL to Genting Highland. If you take your house to Genting Highland, what kind of highways that you have to pass through, how many tolls that you have to pass through. So before you reach to your destiny, you have to know your journey. So cultivation gateway gives you such kind of picture. And then number 3, attainment gateway. Attainment gateway is a gauge. For example, you're on the way to Genting Highland from, let's say, Serdang, okay, from Serdang to Genting Highland. How do you know that you are in the right path? For example, nowadays, usually for Malaysians, you will use the Waze, right? So you set up your target and then you drive. And then when you have gone sideways, the Waze will tell you, oh, reroute back, right? Reroute, and then you go to the same route, right? So the setting of the destiny is like awakening gateway. Where you want to go, you have to go head for this way. You should go for Genting Highland and not go to Klang, okay? And then after you have set your target, how do you know that you are going the correct path, will not go astray in between? This one, you have to gauge yourself. So in the attainment gateway, there is gauge. Now you're at which level of the bodhisattvahood. So in the Srirangama Sutra, the grades of the bodhisattvas, there are 60 of them, 60 grades of bodhisattvahood. So each of them, they have their own state. So while you are cultivating, then you have to cross-check yourself whether you have already attained such a fruit. So in Srirangama is very, what you call, sharp, where you are at. And then later on, after you have gauged where you are, you have to maintain your fruit. You cannot go backwards, right? For example, you have traveled like 20 km from Serdang to on the way to Genting Highland. But if you retreat 10 kilometers back, then what you have gained the 20 kilometers, then you have lost another 10 kilometers, right? So you have to maintain your samadhi. So the last gateway helps us to maintain our samadhi. So these are the contents of the Srirangama in brief. So now I would like our tutor, Sharon, today to share you the first content of the Srirangama.
A very good evening. My name is Sharon Ng, and I'm your tutor for tonight. And I'll be sharing my understanding of this topic, where is the mind? And specifically, it is about Ananda's first and second proposal of the location of the mind. Now, actually, I want to share with you a little bit of my history. My view of human life has actually changed somewhat. I remember when I was in my 30s, I attended a very short retreat. And at the end of the retreat, the yogi next to me, who was about my age, also in her early 30s, she was enthusiastically sharing with me how she had found a way to get out of suffering, of this human life of suffering, and how she's going to put in effort to practice. And she asked me, what about you, sister? I think my answer shocked her, because what I said to her was, human life is so good. So what's wrong with coming back over and over again? Now, if you ask me the same question today, my answer would be different. Although life has been relatively kind to me, there is this feeling of unsatisfactoriness. As I look around me and I see friends and loved ones and relatives suffering, the human sufferings of pain, sickness, poverty. And as I look at how we humans are creating suffering for other beings and even for Mother Earth. So I begin to think about, maybe the human life is not as fantastic as I had earlier believed. Now, the Buddha has shown us various pathways and methods to get out of samsara. However, whatever practice we choose, we must not just put in diligent practice, but we must practice it in the right way. So this topic of where the mind is very crucial. we need to identify the true mind so that we practice in the right way to achieve liberation from samsara. Tonight, I will share with you the first two of the Buddha's refutation of 7 hypothetical locations of the mind proposed by Venerable Ananda. So let's start with the occasion for the teaching. Now, the Buddha was at Prince Jetri's grove together with 1,250 arahats, including Sariputra, Mahamoggallana, Mahakaustila, Purna Maitrayana Putra, Subhuti, Upanishad, and many, many more. All right. This day being the anniversary day of mourning for his father, King Prasanajit had arranged a vegetarian feast in the banquet hall of the palace, and he had invited the Buddha, Arhats, and Bodhisattvas. Only Ananda was absent, as he was on his alms round alone. Now, the fact that Ananda was alone was already a problem. Monks are required to be in a group of at least 2, unless they have very strong samadhi powers. Ananda had decided to practice impartiality and compassion and accepted alms in sequential order. He had heard the Buddha scold Subhuti and Mahakasyapa when they chose to only accept or receive alms from the very rich and the very poor, respectively. So Reverend Ananda decided to receive alms from anybody. So he was going in a sequential order. Now, passing by a brothel, Venerable Ananda was waylaid by a very strong Kapila spell wielded by a Matanga woman. Seduced, Venerable Ananda was on the verge of breaking his vows. Now, the Buddha, knowing that Ananda was succumbing to the carnal influence of the spell, instructed Manjushri to go protect Ananda with the Srirangama mantra and to bring Ananda and the Matanga woman back to where the Buddha was. So back at Jetavana Park, Venerable Ananda made a request for Dharma. When Ananda saw the Buddha, he bowed and wept in sorrow. He had devoted himself to learning the Dharma, but yet he had not fully developed his practice on the path. Respectfully and repeatedly, he asked the Buddha to explain the basic steps that lead to full awakening. Now, I think most of us know that Venerable Ananda was also a prince. He was the Buddha's disciple and first cousin, and he was very well known for his exceptional mind. He had a photographic memory and could remember everything that the Buddha taught. However, despite his vast knowledge, he was nowhere nearer to the goal of enlightenment. So now, he wanted the Buddha to tell him the elementary steps of the practice. That kind of sounds like me, because throughout the last 30 years, I think I have been looking for teachers and I'm learning, and yet I'm nowhere nearer to where I think I should be. But before answering Ananda's request, the Buddha first laid the groundwork by asking Ananda a series of questions. His first question being, why did you become a monk? To which Ananda answered that he was attracted to the transcending qualities of the Buddha's appearance. Now, he was attracted by the Buddha's 32 excellent characteristics and the crystal-like form of the Buddha, which Ananda knew could not be due to the Buddha's birthright as a prince of the Sakya clan, but due to what the Buddha has been practicing and preaching. So this had motivated Ananda to follow the path of the Buddha and ordain as a monk. So the next question that the Buddha asked was, so since you are attracted by my transcending qualities, what do you use to love and enjoy the Buddha's appearance? So can I ask Ananda Som to reply?
With my mind and eyes.
Yeah, so Ananda said that he used his mind and his eyes to love and enjoy the Buddha's appearance. Now, the Buddha then informed Ananda that his mind and eyes are the reason why he's trapped in this conditioned world. where all human beings have been undergoing death and rebirth over and over again. And before Ananda can learn any type of cultivation that leads to full enlightenment, he must first determine where his mind and eyes are located. So the Buddha gave an analogy of bandits invading a country. Now, if the king of the country wanted to send the soldiers in to destroy the bandits, first of all, he must find out where the bandits are. So in this case, before Ananda can take on any practice that leads to enlightenment, he should first determine with what he is using to practice. So the Buddha asked him precisely, where are your mind and your eyes? So let's go to Ananda's first proposal. Now, Ananda's first proposal was very straightforward. Yeah, he says, world-honored one. Everyone knows that one's eyes are on one's face and the mind that knows is in the body. Now, isn't that true? If I were to ask you where your nose is, you are going to point here. And I ask you where your ears are, here. Where is your mind? The likelihood is that you will point it in your head. I remember when I was young and in school, whenever we give the wrong answer, the teacher would come to us and poke at our head and say, use your brain, or use your mind, use your mind. So Ananda's first proposal is that the mind is within the body. Let's hear what the Buddha has to say in response to this. So using an analogy, they were sitting in the hall. The Buddha asked Ananda, as you sit in the Dharma hall, you can see Prince Jetri's grove. Where is the grove? So I invite Ananda to answer.
The grove is outside the hall.
And the Buddha then asked, Ananda, what is the first thing you see from your place in this hall?
I see you, the Buddha, and the assembly of monks. And as I look out of open doors and windows and see the path.
Oh, and then so the Buddha then asked, is it then possible for someone in the hall to see far into the grove when the doors and windows are open without seeing the Buddha or the assembly? So what do you think, Ananda? Is it possible?
No, it's not possible.
So the answer, it is not possible. So the Buddha continued, therefore, if your mind were inside your body, then the inside of your body would be what your mind would come into contact with and have knowledge of. So are there beings that see the insides of their body first before they can observe things outside? So I'd like to ask all of you here, can any one of you see the inside of your body? Can you see your heart, your lungs, stomach, spleen, liver?
No.
I think no.
No.
Yeah, I don't think we can even notice the nails growing inside us, the pulsating of the veins. So if you do not see things within, how can you see things outside? So this is how the Buddha refuted Ananda's first proposal. If your mind cannot see what is inside your body, how can you have knowledge of what is outside your body? What you state is impossible. So conclusion, the mind is not in the body as we cannot see within. So then Ananda, being of brilliant mind, he quickly came out with a second proposal. And the second proposal is that the mind is outside the body. So Ananda, can you please say your piece?
Now that I have listened to the Dharma explained in this way, I realize that my mind must be located outside my body instead. Just like a lamp lit in a room will illuminate the inside of the room first, and then its light will stream through the doorway and reach beyond the hall. If the light is outside the room, it cannot shed light inside the room. In this way, since beings do not see inside their bodies, but only outside, the mind must be outside the body.
Thank you, Ananda. You know, we humans, we have this dualistic mind. If something is not left, it must be right. If it is not up, it must be down. So if it's not black, then it's white. So if the mind is not inside the body, the mind must be outside the body. Very logical conclusion. Let's hear what the Buddha's response is. Now, upon listening to this, the Buddha asked, Ananda, if one monk has eaten his meal, can all the other monks be full?
No, of course not. The monks may be arhats, but their physical bodies are distinct. How could one person cause everyone to be full?
The Buddha then responded in this manner, that two people, one eating and the other not, can be compared to the mind being outside of the body. So the mind and the body will then be separate and unrelated to each other. The body will not be aware of what the mind knows, and the mind will not be aware of what the body knows. Raising his hand, the Buddha then asked Ananda if his mind is aware that his eyes have seen the hand. So Ananda, do you see it?
Yes.
Yes. So it means that the mind and the eyes work together to perceive. So how can the mind be outside the body? Now let's do a small experiment. I'd like you to, everyone please get involved. I'd like you to just take your right hand, just one hand, and then I want you to squeeze the little finger of the other hand. So just do the movement, one hand squeezing the finger of the other hand. Does your mind know that the arm or the hand or the finger is being squeezed, Ananda?
Yes.
You are aware?
Yes.
Okay, now let me do another experiment. So we have proved that the mind is aware of what's happening in the body. Let's do the other way. Is the body aware of what is happening in the mind? I'd like everyone to close your eyes. So please close your eyes. And I want you to think of something frightening. Something frightening for you. A ghost, perhaps. Or a very scary experience that you have. Maybe something you saw on TV that was devastating. The recent bomb in Beirut. An earthquake. The tsunami. Now, check your body. Can you feel your body tensing up? Perhaps even your teeth is now clenched tightly. And could be some of you can feel your stomach churning a little bit. So your body is responding to the thoughts in your mind. Continue to keep your eyes closed. Now think of something happy. Now, it could be your grandchild saying, Mama or Kong Kong, I love you. Or you get the word of praise from your customer, your boss, from the venerable. Can you feel your body opening up, expanding? Perhaps I can even see some of you, your lips are curved in a smile. So that is proof that your body responds to the mind as well. So the conclusion is the mind is not outside the body, as the mind and body are interlinked with knowing awareness. So what I've quickly done is I've just gone through the occasion for the teaching and the request for the Dharma and the reason for Ananda's lack of progress. And Ananda's proposal of the location of the mind. We've gone through 2 out of 7. So the proposal 1, mind is inside the body. Proposal 2, mind is outside the body. And the conclusion is that both proposals are refuted by the Buddha. And I hope that through listening to my explanation just now, you are in a way, I won't say convinced. The Buddha has convinced you that this is not true. So next week, I will lead you through Ananda's 3rd and 4th proposals of the mind location. But for now, just be very clear that the mind is not inside your body, neither is it outside your body. Now, this ends my session for this evening. I will now hand control of this session to Venerable Hongbok for further elaboration and details that I may have unintentionally overlooked. Let's put our palms together to welcome Venerable Hongbok, and thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Tutor Sharon and Som, for interacting. The purpose of learning Dharma is not just like for gaining some knowledge, but we do actually have to experience it and come from your own heart. Then only you get the taste of the Dharma bliss. You may ask, why are we talking about this mind either inside or outside? Just tell me the answer lah. I tell you, if the Buddha just tells the answer like that, you won't be convinced. And the reason why we are talking about the mind, where is it, outside or inside? Why the Buddha asked such a question, where is the mind and the eyes? It sounds like very stupid, but actually, we don't know the answer. For example, where are your eyes? Ananda answered in a sarcastic way. Buddha, don't ask me where are my eyes. I see your eyes also on your face. Okay? This is how Ananda answered back the Buddha. Means that, Buddha, you're asking me silly questions lah. Everybody, not only me and everybody, your eyes also on your face ma. This is how he answered, in such kind of tone. Then the Buddha further questioned him, then where is your mind? Now I tell you the answer. Why Buddha asked such a question? Ananda's intention of renouncing as a monk from his palace life was because he used his eyes to see the Buddha so handsome. Okay, in nowadays, 32 hallmarks means very handsome. Wow, Buddha, you look very handsome. And I want to look as handsome as you. That's why I want to become a monk. No? This is how he answered the Buddha. I mean, in the modern expression, it will be that way. So the Buddha told him, the reason why we are in samsara is because, like you, Ananda, you have this kind of discriminatory mind. The mind that discriminates good and bad. That's why your mind is agitated, because when you see good things, you want to grasp it. In this context, Ananda saw the Buddha's appearance was so charming, and he thought that that kind of charming could not be born by the parents. It must be through cultivation. That's why if I cultivate like the Buddha, one day I will become as handsome as him. This is not bad lah. At least he already renounced as a monk. Not bad. To what you call at the angle of ordinary being like us is a very already very good. But in the Buddha's angle, it's not perfect yet. It's actually a craving. It's actually also a craving, a desire. But this is a good one, a good example. So the Buddha said, the reason why we are in samsara, because the good ones, when we see, we use our faculties, in this context, the eye faculties, to see the good things, you will try to grasp it. This is the 12 dependent origination, if you remember. Okay? When the faculty comes into contact with the object, it will arouse a desire, and then you will love it. After you love it, you will take action to grasp it. And that's why the chain of samsara, the 12 dependent of origination, continues. Like a wheel. That's why we call it chakra. Okay, there's no end and no beginning. Same thing. When we use our eyes to see the bad things, you will try to get rid of them. Correct? When we see the bad things, you will have hatred. It would agitate your mind as well. You have hatred, and you have anger, and you want to get rid of them. Take action to get rid of them. So after you have taken action to get rid of them, you create another new set of becoming, another new set of karma that will continue your life in the future. This is how the system, the mechanism of samsara is created. So no matter good things or bad things, It all comes from the contact in between your faculties and the objects. In this context, the I faculty come into contact with a form object. The Buddha appearance is a form object to Venerable Ananda. And the emotion, feelings, like it or not, doesn't like it, later on will all be aroused. And later on taking action. When actions are taken, be it you want to grasp it or you want to get rid of them, you have created a new set of becoming. So why the Buddha asked such a question? Where are the eyes and the mind? The purpose is to stop, to cut off this chain of 12 dependent of origination, this mechanism of samsara. Why ask where are the eyes? Because if you don't have eyes, you don't have the sense of seeing, you won't judge whether it's a good appearance or bad appearance, correct? So in such a way, your mind won't be agitated. That's why the Buddha first asked, where are your eyes and the mind? And the mind is actually the culprit of giving all the interpretations in between and later on taking actions and all this. And some of you may have this doubt. Then you ask me, don't want eyes lah, take off the eyes lah. Huh? Go and remove the eyes lah, then don't see the world, then my mind is all the while won't be agitated. What? So even though you don't, you remove your eyes, you don't use your eyes to come into contact with form objects. When you close your eyes, also you can think of a lot of things. When you close your eyes, you may think of the bad memories, the sorrowful memories, and then the good memories, the charming memories. And all these will also agitate your mind. And you take action inside your mind also. Anger, desire, ignorance, and all this. And you are still creating a new becoming, new set of karma. So you take off your eyes also. If your mind is there, and if your mind cannot become, and your agitated mind is there, you're still in samsara. That's why the Buddha asks you, where is your mind? All of us here are very ambiguous. And if you don't know where the mind is, what is the problem if you don't know where the mind is? When your mind is agitated, for example, now you are chanting Amitabha, you are mindful of the Buddha, Amitabha, Amitabha, or you are meditating. And suddenly a thought has arisen in your mind. And if you don't know where your mind is, you don't know where to catch the thief. You don't know how to calm it down. So if you know how to calm it down, how can you get samadhi? If you cannot get samadhi, how can you open up your wisdom? How can you see the truth, the Dharma? That's why it's very important to investigate where the mind is. And you have an impression. The reasons given in the Sutra by the Buddha is very what you call imaginative. We human beings, we only can be convinced when we have gone through a very, very tough time. So Venerable Ananda has given 7 proposals where the mind is, and all these 7 proposals were refuted by the Buddha. So Sharon just now has shared us 2 of them. The mind is inside and the mind is outside, and both proposals were refuted by the Buddha, being the first reason, if the mind is inside, it should see within. And in actuality, the mind cannot see within, can only see what is outside. That's why the mind cannot be within the body, inside the body. And then the second refutation is why the mind cannot be outside the body. Because when the mind is outside the body, it would like it's 2 separate entities, 2 separate bodies. Like my body and your body are separated. You are outside my body. So when I eat, you won't be full. And when you eat, I won't be full. Because your body and my body are separated. That's why you are outside me. Something is outside you, is not related to you anymore. He eats, you won't be full. You eat, he won't be full. This is in actuality. So your hypothesis, the hypothesis here is the mind is outside the body. Hypothesis doesn't mean it must be right. Hypothesis only. So if the mind were outside the body, it's as if another person of you. So it is not related anymore. Your mind and your eyes, your body are not related anymore. So when your mind outside sees, your eyes here should not have seen. When your eye sees, your mind should not know because it is separated outside your body. Correct? So now the problem is just now Sharon had given you an experiment. When you close your eyes, you think of the bad things, bad memories, your body will shiver or whatever. When you think of good memories, your body will react with a smile, correct? So it means the mind, our mind and our body are related. It cannot be separated like now outside your body. So this is how the Buddha refuted the second proposal, logically. So Srirangama, you will see it is very logical, yet beyond logic. Means that if you use your logical mind to think of an answer, it seems to you it might be very logical, it sounds logical, but actually it is not. So after you have learned the awakening gateway, you will see all the logics that created by human beings are actually not logical. That's right. And we won't be convinced until we have gone through a very tough debate. That's why the Srirangama, the Awakening Gateway, the first half of it, there are a lot of debates. The purpose is to convince us the logics that we have created are actually not so logical. And the true mind is beyond logic, beyond duality. The most important point is beyond duality. And the next one I would like to touch is just now, Sharon had mentioned the monk are supposed to be two always. It's actually not this. It's actually the junior monk should always be accompanied by a senior monk. So Venerable Ananda that time should actually be accompanied by a senior monk. It's not must be two. Perhaps most of you have not seen the message behind the Sutra. Why Venerable Ananda fell into the seduction of the Kapila spell by Matanga, this prostitute. Venerable Ananda has a very good memory, a photographic memory. He can memorize and dictate all the teachings given by Buddha. And this is actually exactly the mind of a scholar. Scholars usually have a very good memory. They can remember a lot of things. But the reason why he fell into the Kapila spell was because he actually put into practice, according to the Sutra. He knew a lot knowledge, but he did not put into practice seriously. Of course, Ananda practiced as well, but he did not really put into more weightage and more time on it. That's why his samadhi power was not so enough to sustain him from being seduced by the Matanga prostitute. So what the message of the sutra here is that Dharma, after we have learned, you cannot just put like, it's a knowledge. I know Srirangama Sutra says what. I know Mangala Sutta says what. I know. No lah. You must practice. You must put into practice. You must cultivate until you gain your samadhi power. Until you gain your samadhi power. Samadhi power means what? A calm mind versus your agitated mind. Now, before we cultivate, all our minds are agitated. When you see good things, your mind will be agitated, excited. You want it. You take action to grasp it. And you're creating a new becoming. When your eye sees something bad, you are angry and you want to get rid of them. Your mind is also agitated, and you've taken. If you take some actions, you also create another set of new karmas. So be it bad or good, also you're still in samsara. Your mechanism of samsara is still going on. Correct? So you have to practice to calm down the mind, your agitated mind. And this practice, we call Shamatha practice. Shamatha. Okay? Pali we call Samatha. Okay? So Shamatha practice is to shut down the mind, shut down the brain activities. In specific, we shut down all the senses, the eye consciousness, the ear consciousness, the nose consciousness, and so forth. And then later on, we train on vipassana to observe on the truth. And then you gain your wisdom, your prajna, and then you get enlightenment. This is the path. This is the path. I'm sure nowadays, especially we modern people, we are very busy day and night. And how many of you nighttime cannot sleep? One, put out your hand. You know why in the night we cannot sleep, or insomnia, or we call even though sleep we cannot sleep well? Please listen attentively, because your computer cannot shut down during the nighttime. Okay, you've been so used to it in the daytime of using your brain to analyze problems, to solve problems, solve your family problems, solve your company problems, a lot of things, financial problems. But at night, this computer is still going on, cannot be shut down. That's why you close your eyes also cannot sleep, because the eyes are already closed, the mind still functioning. Correct? The reason why we cannot sleep well, because we cannot shut down the mind. The mind is so agitated or too excited, and it can't stop functioning even though we close our eyes at night. So in this case, we have to train the mind to shut down, and this is called Shamatha practice. So if you are well trained on Shamatha, okay, now I want to go in my jhana, then you will shut down all the senses, your eye consciousness, ear consciousness, and so forth, and even your mind consciousness. Your mind now can really rest. That's why sleeping is not necessarily for you to gain energy, because if you sleep with dreams, your mind, your brain is actually not resting. The next morning you feel very tired. You are still very tired after 8 hours of sleep. Correct? Why? Because dreaming means the mind is still working, right? The brain is still working. So if you have a dreamless sleep, we call very deep sleep, then your brainwave is in like a delta brainwave. That is a very good quality of sleep. So the same thing, knowing where the mind is, we can catch the thief. And we know all the conditions. After you have taken out all these conditions, you can calm down the mind. And later on, jhana will be developed. Your mind will enter into more and more deep concentration. And then later on, you will see the truth of the universe. So this is the path. This is the path. We human, we are actually like a computer. And the mind is agitated, is actually through this inner computer. What are all these things? 6 faculties. Eye faculty, ear faculty, nose, tongue, body, mind. In English, we call the senses, our senses. Okay, sense of seeing, sense of hearing, sense of smelling, and all this, until the mind, sense of thinking. In Buddhism, we have 6 senses, 6 faculties, indriya, and then we have 6 defiling objects. Form object. Form object is what we see from the eye faculty. What the eye faculty can see is called the form object. Okay, for example, the screen now in front of you, this screen in front of you is form object, and you use your eye faculty to see this screen. So this screen to you is an object of form, and you're using your eye faculty to see it. And in between, you have your eye consciousness. Okay, if you don't have the eye consciousness, you will not be conscious that you're seeing something in front of you. You won't be conscious about a screen in front of you, and so forth. The ear consciousness will come into contact with sound object, nose faculty with smell object, tongue with taste object, body with touch object, mind with mind object. What are mind objects? Mind objects are just like, just now Sharon asked you to close your eyes to think of the bad memories, and you can, all these images will come out in your mind, or good memories, the good memories, images or even sound will happen within your brain, even though that guys are not in front of you anymore, but your mind still can think of all these memories. They are called mind objects, and you use your mind consciousness to comprehend them. Okay, so these two 6 faculties and 6 defiling objects are called the 12 ayatana, 12 sights. Okay, 6 plus 6, 12, and then plus the 6 consciousness is called 18 dhatus. And what are all these things? These are the phenomena of the universe. If we were to categorize the phenomena of the universe, we can categorize them into 3 blocks: faculties, objects, and consciousnesses. The 6 faculties is like something physiological. Objects are external, out of our body, the surroundings. This is called physical. 6 consciousness are like mental. So in the phenomena of the universe, it is not something physical, objects outside the body. It must be your senses, and it's called physiological or biological here, and or mental. So the universe, the phenomena of the universe cannot run away from these 3 categories. So this is how we categorize the phenomena of the universe. If you can know the characteristics of all these 3 things in details, the culprit that agitates your mind, you know it is from where. So the reason why we learn these 7 proposals where the mind is because we want to debate through a very tough way. When we are convinced, only that we will be convinced that actually such a mind has no fixed location. Then only we will be convinced when we are in a very agitated condition. You would be convinced, why am I so angry, and why am I so agitated about it? Why am I so excited about it? Actually, it's illusory. It's illusory, as if there is a place, but actually you cannot find it. So this is the teaching of these 7 proposals given by Ananda and later on refuted by the Buddha. Why the Buddha refutes the proposals given by Ananda? Because such a mind that we think of has no fixed location. Means whatever we can think of, whatever we can perceive are illusory. The point is here. So this is a teaching. So how can we use it in our daily lives? When your mind is so agitated, then you go and find where the agitated mind located inside the brain chip here, like a pen drive, or inside the heart here. Can ask the doctor and operate out. Then you no need be said anymore again. You can find the chip just like a pen drive. I delete the drive, the word file. Then no more bad file Can do like that or not? You cannot find it. So whatever files you're opening inside your mind, just now Sharon asked you to close your eye to recall your bad memories, to recall your good memories. All these memories as if it's like there is a storage place for it, but actually they are all illusory. You are stupidly cheated by them. That's why this question is not stupid. Yeah, ask us to investigate where the mind is. It's very important.